Good morning. I have kids in the background posting Toy Story 2, and Clover is playing with toys in her high chair. So that's the background noise, or some of it. Let's see. So I did a post that attracted some attention from a few people, only a few. I'm not popular. Oh, there goes Clover's toy. So I did a post. I said, another bad idea is white privilege. I have love privilege. I feel sad for people raised without love. And so, when I do these posts, I try to say things that are true, like obviously true. So one of the things that I think is obviously true is that I have love privilege. I feel sad for people raised without love. But it's that first sentence. Another bad idea is white privilege. And so, I got a lot of responses, and I made some mistakes. I finally realized the mistakes I made. Hey, buddy. All right. There we go. So the main mistake I made is I tried to point at the individual's ability to do statistical analysis. And that's a rabbit trail that I got into away from the main point, because, and now I think I understand the bigger picture now, is that, people have beliefs. And with this post where I said another bad idea is white privilege, I have love privilege, I'm basically there's a set of people who have this belief in white privilege. And I'm personally, my intention is to say that love privilege is a better idea, a better belief. And then what happened is everyone who has that belief in white privilege, they kind of had this need to defend their belief. That's how it started. And the reason why these people, there are reasons why these people believe in white privilege. And I think that one of the reasons is based in your value system. So some people have a value system where they say truth is the highest value. And these might be people who are in academia or the university. And so whenever I encounter these people who say who believe that truth is the highest value, and I can kind of feel it, because they're trying to make these truth arguments, truth claims. Then I was responding basically by saying, well, the general idea is that the truth is actually very hard to understand. I don't want that to fall off. It's a big toy right here. The truth is hard to understand as a whole. It's really hard. The truth is, it can be really complex. There can be multiple variables. When you do it, I could go into it. That's the problem. I don't need to go into it. Truth used to be my number one commandment. And then eventually, by going down the path of seeking truth, I learned that love is a better number one commandment. And so what happens is that there are people who believe truth is the number one, is the highest value, and there's people who believe love is the highest value. And that can change from time to time, place to place. And so whenever I got pulled into that rabbit hole of where people uphold truth, I've got a lot of experience with truth being the highest value. And it actually led me to the belief and the principle that love is the highest value. And so that's all I was doing with this post. But what's interesting, the thing that's interesting to me is, it isn't, I had these ideas, like I was exploring ideas like, maybe what's different, the question is, what's different about me that lets me see this that doesn't allow other people to see it? And, there's a reason why my path of searching truth was, one sec, gotta get baby Clover. Come here, baby girl. Maybe I'll get her in the camera. Come here, baby girl. There we go. Hello. So I pursued truth and found love. And it was hard because on that path toward truth, I had to realize that my beliefs were keeping me from learning. And that the fact that I upheld truth above everything else was a kind of belief system or religious structure of some kind. That's the thing I held to be sacred. So I had to even question my own religion. I had to question, right? So that was my personal religion. I had to question it. And so that's kind of what happened here. I got pulled into a rabbit hole of trying to help people who are on the path of knowledge, where truth is the highest ideal. And, that path is long. It's going to take a long time for people on that path to end up coming to some realizations and conclusions that I've come to. And hopefully they do, right? Maybe they won't, because there are obstacles along that path, namely arrogance, hubris. There's a lot of people who are really old who are on that path and are trapped by some kind of arrogance and hubris. And so the point is that my main point has something to do with belief in general. And it's not my problem solving ability, and it's not my intellect. It's not any of that. What it really comes down to, I believe, is that it comes down to the amount of times that you have shed your beliefs or transformed your beliefs, because that process is really hard. A belief is like a lens through which you see the world, and so it has blind spots. It's a kind of box. It's hard to be open-minded when you have beliefs, and so you have to practice and train in the art of setting your beliefs aside. Now, that's not something you want to do all the time, but it is something you have to do.
Mama's water.
You want Mama's water? Come here. If you want to improve your beliefs, you have to actually learn to shed your beliefs, provide some space for a new belief to emerge. And that's really what the whole post is about. The whole post is about the idea. Well, the idea is that love, privilege, is a superior idea and belief than white privilege. Come here, buddy.
I would like 2 babies.
2 babies?
Okay.
So love's really important. I was baptized by the Holy Spirit on my 30th birthday. And that doesn't mean anything, because it's a journey, and you practice having love. So every time I do a post, every time I do a comment, I have to pause, and I have to act out that religion which upholds love. And so that's what I do. And I'm going to bump up against people who are acting out a religion that upholds truth. And the problem with upholding truth is the belief itself can keep you from learning. And that's why people get so defensive and emotional. It's because, you're questioning their beliefs. People get defensive and emotional when you question their beliefs. And that's just the way it is. And I think that's the main point. That's the thing I learned from that whole post and all those comments and everything, is that it made me remember, important word. It made me remember that, and it took like 2 days, right? It's not something that I just realize or see immediately. I don't claim to be quick, but I am determined. And so there's all these people with beliefs, and a lot of them are beliefs based in a value system which upholds truth. And I am suggesting that a value system which upholds love is better than a value system which upholds truth as a starting place. That's all I'm suggesting. That's the topic. But, you know, because I used that first sentence, white privilege is a bad idea, it caused people who have a value system based in truth to become defensive and emotional and really commit to, like, not question their beliefs, but commit to them. And this is something about what Jonathan Haidt wrote. I don't know if it's Haidt or Haidt. Maybe if you don't like him, you call him Jonathan Haidt. And if you do like him, you call him Jonathan Haidt. That's that reminds me of a Crowley or Crowley. Those who find me holy call me Crowley, and those who find me foully call me Crowley. So that's the idea. Jonathan Haidt, he basically would say that the intellect, the reason, the rationality is basically really good at defending, I'm going to use my words, beliefs. That's what it does. And it's really good at it. I mean, I've had beliefs. I had a perpetual motion machine that I believed was going to work and disproved the second law of thermodynamics. And I committed to it for almost 2 years before I finally had to question it enough to discover why it wouldn't work. And I went to the head of engineering, the dean of engineering at Auburn. I went to many intelligent people who could not point out where my energy losses were. I had to find them myself. And the only way I could find them myself is if I questioned my beliefs. And I've done that a few times. And so I would say that's really an interesting metric for human beings, is how many times have you been so committed to a belief and then you realize that your belief was not good. There was a better belief. And the number of times that happens, every time that happens, it kind of opens up pathways and doorways within your mind by which you are no longer so susceptible to belief. And that's all. I think that's what is the difference between me and many other people. And so there might be people who are less susceptible to belief than I am. And I know there's a lot of people who are more susceptible to belief. And you can basically see it in the fact that people tend to believe the things that they hear the most. They don't necessarily question the authorities. That's it. It's a long one. Not really. All right. I love y'all. Bring that Holy Spirit in. Have the love. When you do that, you get to see a whole different world. And it's pretty interesting how pervasive the belief system of truth, materialistic truth. It's interesting how much that has influenced the whole society, because it's dangerous and it's susceptible to error, susceptible to arrogance and hubris. All right.